I mean, Jagmeet Singh is a bit of a racist. He wouldn't answer the question by the only black woman in the room, Drea Humphrey. He looked down his nose at her, and it was sort of a gross moment where he mansplained to her that she's not allowed to ask questions. He was pretty gross. But let's be honest, Jagmeet Singh is sort of dumb. I mean, he's really cool. I'll grant you that. He's really good at TikTok videos, but he's sort of dumb. And I think by saying, I'm not going to talk to Rebel News, that lets him avoid answering tough questions. When I say he's sort of dumb, he just sort of is. Is there a single policy out there that you can say Jagmeet Singh really knows his stuff? There was an interesting little statistic that the debate showed of how many minutes of talk time each candidate had. And to their credit, I thought the debate itself was quite well run, by the way, both the English and the French. The French debate, they tallied up how many minutes and seconds each candidate got. And Jagmeet Singh's was way down low because the guy is not built for debating. He's not really built for ideas or answering tough questions. So I think one of Jagmeet Singh's strategies for avoiding embarrassment is to say, oh, I don't like that journalist, so I'm not going to answer that completely legit question. And, I want to show one of the videos that one of the questions to Jagmeet Singh, I say again, it was our own Drea Humphrey. And she asked a question about the anti-Christian crime wave in Canada. I talk a fair bit about the anti-Semitic crime wave in Canada, torching of synagogues, smashing glass, shooting up a girls' school. Like there's this very serious crime wave against Jewish institutions, but there's also one against Christian institutions. And thank God it hasn't had anyone harmed yet. But over 200 Christian churches have been vandalized or even burnt. You might recall a few weeks ago I went out to Winnipeg to film a church that had been totally torched. So Drea Humphrey, who is herself Christian, and by the way, Black and Indigenous, asked a question to Jagmeet Singh. And I want to show the question, but Efron, I also want to show Rosemary Barton's response to it. So here's Drea's question, which was an excellent question. The CBC hated this question. I'll show you how. Take a look.
Hello, Mr. Singh. Drea Humphrey with Rebel News. Your party takes great pride in standing against hate such as white supremacy, Islamophobia, and online.
Sorry, I didn't get your outlet.
Drea Humphrey with Rebel News.
Okay.
Your party.
You know where I'm going to go with this, though, right?
Can I speak?
Yeah, you can. I'm just going to say you know where I'm going to go with it, though.
Wow.
Your party takes pride in standing against hate such as white supremacy, Islamophobia, and online hate speech. Yet you stay silent about ongoing attacks against Christians, even after Conservative MP Jamil Javani's order paper question revealed that over 200 churches have been targeted by arson and vandalism since claims of remains being discovered at former residential schools swept the nation in 2021. These claims have been disproven by bands that excavated and remain unproven by those that have not. Will you condemn the rise in acts of hate against Christians today and explain what your party will do moving forward to keep Christians safe from hate in Canada?
Again, thank you, but I'm not going to respond to an organization that promotes misinformation and disinformation like Rebel News. So no, I'm not going to respond to your question.
Wow.
What she said had no misinformation.
Yeah, thanks very much. That's enough for that clip. So he called that misinformation and disinformation. And so did Rosemary Barton, my doppelganger at CBC. Do you have that clip of Rosemary Barton? Just raging against Drea. Drea has been on this. She actually went to Kamloops to look into the allegation of mass graves. She actually bumped into the chief and talked to the chief. Okay, take a look at Rosemary Barton describing Drea's question as factually false. Take a look.
I think we have to sort of address the elephant in the room. How are these people chosen to answer these questions? And I don't know if either one of you have an answer for that, but I think there will be people at home saying, some of these seem like odd questions. Some of them aren't getting answered. How come we've heard so often from this one particular outlet? Any idea what's going on there?
There's three right-wing, very right-wing media, we can call them media, websites that are present.
in there. They get in line to ask a question like anybody else. Their accreditation has been approved by the Commission of Debates. And so they get the right to stand in line and ask a question that they choose to ask. In this case, you saw Mr. Singh, and this has been his position for some time, to refuse to answer questions. Rebel News in particular traffics in misinformation, facts, lack of facts, and as you heard in that question, which was woven with some truth and some things that weren't true. Yes, there have been burnings of Christian Catholic churches. Yes, there have been remains of Indigenous children found in various places around the country, which she misrepresented. We'll see if Mr. Poilievre gets any questions.
Well, in fact, Mr. Poilievre did get questions from Rebel News, 2 questions asked by Sheila Gunn Reid, and they were great questions. There's some sort of weird implication there that we don't ask tough questions of Pierre Poilievre. But let me bring your attention to something that I just discovered today, which is a correction. Do you have that handy, Ephraim? The official correction on the CBC's website. Now, you can see it right there. Scroll down a little bit. It's they made the correction on the 17th. They said, on April 16th, during a live broadcast following the French language federal election leaders debate on CBC News Network, Chief Political Correspondent Rosemary Barton said, quote, "Yes, there have been remains of Indigenous children found in various places across the country. As CBC News has reported on multiple occasions, what several Indigenous communities across Canada have discovered on the sites of some former residential schools are potential burial sites or unmarked graves." So there have been no unmarked graves that have been found, because none of this, the accusation has been made by airheads like Jagmeet Singh and Rosemary Barton, but none of them have been found yet. So she was lying, or maybe she's just dumb. I don't know which one's a better one. Are you lying? Like, did you know it was a lie and you said it on purpose? Or are you just that dumb? You're the chief political correspondent for the state broadcaster, and you don't know your basic facts about an incredibly large issue. But imagine the chutzpah to call Drea the misinformation peddler. In a fact check, you position yourself as a fact checker. The CBC did more fact checking of Rebel News at the debates than they did of Mark Carney, who they're championing for obvious reasons. He said, far from cutting the CBC as Pierre Poilievre has promised to do, he's going to give them a boost in spending. Rosemary Barton is a disgrace. The CBC is a disgrace. They lied about Drea. Much more importantly, they lied about the truth. They lied about Indigenous graves. And they don't, you know what? We get things wrong once in a while. We occasionally publish corrections, and even occasionally we publish apologies, as in we didn't just get it wrong in a neutral way. We got it wrong in a way that hurt someone. Every once in a while we publish an apology. It doesn't happen often because we take getting our facts accurately very seriously. But every once in a while we have an apology, a retraction, a correction, whatever. You'll notice that so-called correction did not say who they were smearing. They couldn't bring themselves to say it was Drea and Rebel News who got it right. And second of all, they didn't tweet this. Rosemary Barton didn't retweet this. They buried this on a page of the CBC that no one ever goes to. That shows their mind, doesn't it? You know, they're not glad to be corrected. They're not happy that the truth came out because they prefer the lies because it suits their agenda. Anyhow, what a day it was. What a couple of days. And Rebel News just smashed it. And I got to tell you, it was such a team feeling. I was so proud of our people. And what you couldn't see in that Drea Humphrey clip, and I mentioned this that night, I don't know if you saw my live stream comments. One thing Rosemary Barton said accurately is there's a ton of other journalists in the room. 100, 150, somewhere between 100 and 150. Let's say 120. And anyone can get in line. So we just got in line, and 4 out of the 5 of us had questions. I actually was the only guy on our team that didn't move fast enough to get in line. The CBC had 4 questions too. There were 17 questions asked. We had 4, CBC had 4, and the other guys had the rest. And we just moved a little bit faster than the other guys. You know, how about work a little harder if you want to beat Rebel News? They're so lazy because they've never really had true competition before. I don't know if you remember that clip where It was David Cochran, the bald guy, Rosemary Barton, my separated at birth twin, and then there was a commentator on the other side, Adrian Arsenault, who said, some viewers at home might find these questions to be odd. What? Who the hell are you to say that? She was objecting to the substance of our questions. As if and there was an extended conversation to that effect. And they were basically saying, how dare you ask things that we don't approve of? Literally, who the hell are you, sister? Like, who the hell are you? That's what irked them. It wasn't that we had 4 questions. Like I say, the CBC had 4 questions. That didn't irk anybody because they were the right kind of questions, weren't they? Just unbelievable. Yeah, they call. Is that a new clip you've got there? Yeah, play this one if this is a new one. This is a good one.
If it's on time from seeing Jagmeet Singh at the podium. But Rosie, I'm curious what stood out to you, because at one point when some of those last questions came up, I just checked to make sure, no, we're in Canada. Because the identity politics questions
asking about transgenderism is un-Canadian.
This happens on the same day that the United Kingdom court ruled that women and sex are
highly relevant news
women and
question.
biological sex. True North is a very right-wing website.
They're not very right-wing. They're not more
there
right-wing
have
than
been
me.
issues in the past with who gets allowed into these scrums and who's allowed to ask questions of the leaders.
They won in court.
The commission,
just alongside
the Debates
us.
Commission was the one who decided that these people were allowed to come in and ask these kinds of questions. So there you go.
These kind of questions, it's in questions they don't like. Oh my God, you couldn't fit more pomposity per square inch, per cubic inch in my doppelganger, Rosemary Barton. Just incredible. Hey, you know what? Oh, let me just check to make sure I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. You know, I'm not very good at the live streams because I don't pay attention to things I'm supposed to do, like, read out super chats and things. So I want to make sure I do what I'm supposed to do. But can I tell you something that I did last week that I didn't tell you about because I was so busy focused on the debates? Remember Buttongate? Buttongate. That's such a silly word, adding gate to any little kerfuffle. It's so dumb. But do you recall? Actually, we may as well play the video. It's only about 5 minutes, right? I want to show you what I was up to. Now, I was out there in Montreal, and I was totally focused on defending our team, handling the Debates Commission, fending off the jackals. Oh, I didn't finish that story. When Drea Humphrey was asking her question, it was like all the demonic jackals were hissing at her and heckling her. They were heckling her. Other journalists were heckling Drea. It wasn't picked up on her microphone. It was insane. I've never seen anything like it. By the way, that's the exact behavior they accuse Rebel News of, when in fact it's them what does it.